You're still training like you're 22. Random effort, maximum intensity, no plan beyond whatever mood you're in when you walk into the gym. But your life is different now. You've got a mortgage, deadlines, family commitments, and recovery isn't automatic anymore. You're still running the old playbook, that GA mentality, where the only gear is flat out and you try to push through everything. That worked when you were 19 and your biggest responsibility was showing up to training. It doesn't work when you need to be useful on a Saturday morning, not wrecked, not stiff, not hobbling around after a gym session. And just so we're clear who this episode is for, if you're a former athlete who trains hard for 2 weeks, then disappears for 2 weeks because something flares up, and you keep telling yourself, I just need to get back into it, this episode is for you. This is Paul Hughes from Templetown Strength and Conditioning in Carlingford. Over the last few weeks, we've talked about why former athletes feel lost, the traps you're falling into, and the recovery gap. The biological reality of training at 35 to 45. Today, I'm giving you the solution, the rebuild framework. This is how former athletes train at 40 without breaking down, drifting, or constantly restarting. Before I explain the framework, let me tell you about a client I started working with recently. Late 30s, former player, still had a good engine, still strong, still competitive, but he was stuck in this frustrating cycle. Train hard for a couple of weeks, something starts to niggle, shoulder, knee, whatever. Then he'll disappear for 10 days, come back, start again. When I looked at his training history, the issue was obvious. Every week looked the same. Same intensity, same effort, same go hard mindset. No structure, no reset weeks, no variation. He was stuck in what I call the middle ground. You're never recovered enough to train properly hard, and you're never training light enough to actually recover. So you live in this grey area, professionally tired, slightly stiff, always plateaued, working hard, but going nowhere. That is the cost of random training. Most people sit around 70% intensity every session, hard enough to accumulate fatigue, but not hard enough to force adaptation. You're just treading water. Here is what actually works. Hard sessions, properly hard, where you test yourself. Light sessions, generally light, where you move well and recover. And reset weeks, where you allow the system to adapt. That's the framework. The simplest structure for busy adults is the 3-to-1 pattern. 3 weeks building, 1 week reset. The easiest way to understand it is this. You wouldn't drive from Carlingford to Dublin with the engine at red line the whole way. The engine would blow before you even hit the dock. Your body works the exact same way. Here's the structure. Week 1, build, start conservative, dial in movement quality. We're establishing working weights and building a foundation. Nobody's trying to be a hero in week 1. Week 2, push. Now we start adding load, add a bit of weight, add a rep or two. Progressive overload begins here. Week 3, peak. This is your hardest week, your heaviest sessions. You test what you're capable of. Week 4, reset. Same movements, same structure, but loads drop about 30 to 40%. Now this is where most people think nothing is happening. They feel like they're wasting a week, but this is where your body actually adapts. Without this week, the previous 3 weeks eventually catch up with you, and that's when the wheels come off. Then you repeat, and you start the next cycle stronger than the last one. Now we apply that pattern across 12 weeks, 3 cycles of the 3-to-1 pattern. Cycle 1, foundation, weeks 3 to 4. We stabilize the system, clean movement, build consistently, get the habits locked in. Cycle 2, progressing, weeks 5 through 8. You start week 5 stronger than week 1. Why? Because you didn't burn yourself into the ground during the first 4 weeks. Cycle 3, performance, weeks 9 through to 12. Now the numbers move. This is where you push. This is where the strength shows up. This is where you see the result of doing it properly. And at the end of week 12, you assess. You look at where you started and where you are now, and you plan the next block starting from a higher baseline. This is a training block, not a random program you downloaded online, not something you cobbled together from Instagram Reels. A structured system with built-in recovery so adults with actual lives can follow it week after week, month after month, year after year. Now here's the important part. Because you're not a professional athlete anymore, you've got work stress, family stress, bad sleep nights, kids waking you up at 3 a.m. The structure has to adapt to life. Otherwise, you won't follow it. That's where the traffic light system comes in. Before every session, you assess yourself. Takes about 30 seconds. Green light. Good sleep. Stress is manageable. The warm-up feels clean. Joints feel good. So the result is you push. You add weight. Train hard. This is your day. Yellow light. Maybe you had a rough night. It's a busy week. You're a wee bit stiff. Your movement quality is a wee bit off. So you maintain. You do the work, but you don't add load. You focus on quality. Red light. You're run down. You can feel yourself getting sick. Your warm-up feels off. Life stress is through the fucking roof. So you recover. Movement work only. You live to fight again tomorrow. And this is important. So listen to this bit carefully. Choosing a red light session isn't failing the plan. It's executing the plan. You didn't skip the session. You adjusted it. That's the difference between someone who trains randomly and someone who trains for the long game. Most lads I work with have never given themselves permission to pull back without feeling like they've failed. The traffic light system removes that guilt. You're not being soft, you're being smart. Most people don't break down because of one session. They break down because of accumulated fatigue. Weeks of training hard. Life stress is high. The sleep is inconsistent. No reset week. No variation. Just grinding. Then one day you bend down to pick something up and your body hits the emergency brake. And you think, Jesus, where did that come from? It didn't come from that one moment. It came from 6 weeks of unmanaged load with no recovery built in. That's not bad luck. That's a lack of structure. Reset weeks are scheduled maintenance. They stop small issues becoming forced time off. They're the reason you're still training in month 3 instead of sitting on the couch icing something. Here's something nobody talks about in training programs. Most former athletes are elite from Monday to Thursday. Monday, you're dialed in, meal prep done, training session locked, you're a machine. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, same energy, you're on it. Then Friday night happens, old habits creep in, the wheels come off, a few pints turns into a takeaway. Saturday is a write-off, Sunday you're in recovery mode, and Monday morning you're doing penance for the weekend. That's not a training plan. It's a cycle of self-punishment, and it's exhausting because you're not just losing the weekend, you're losing the first 2 days of the next week trying to get back where you were on Thursday. Structure means the weekend doesn't break you. You don't need to be a monk. You don't need to be perfect, but you do need a standard that holds when Friday night starts. The rebuild framework gives you that, because when you know you've got a system and you can see progress building, you stop blowing it every weekend. Not because someone told you to behave yourself, but because you don't want to waste what you're building. That's the big difference. So if you're listening to this and you're realizing you've been drifting without a system, training hard but going nowhere, stopping and starting every few weeks, it's time to stop. I'm taking 3 people into our next 12-week rebuild block starting mid-March here at Templetown Strength Conditioning in Carlingford. This is for former competitors who are done with random workouts and stop-start training. People who want a structured system, accountability, and coaching that actually adapts to their life. I'm selective about who comes into this block. If you're looking for a casual gym membership or a quick fix for a wedding in 2 weeks' time, save us both the time. This isn't that. But if you're a former athlete who knows they're capable of more and you're ready to own your standards again, here's what to do. Go to templetown.com and check availability for the March rebuild block, or send me a DM on Instagram at TempletownSC with the word rebuild. I'll ask you a few questions and we'll see if you're fit for the culture here. At 25, I train for intensity. At 40, I train for repeatability. Stop chasing the ghost. I'll see you in the next one.